We begin the news at this hour in West Africa, where 6 students, 3 teachers and a bus driver have been kidnapped by unknown gunmen in Ekiti State, southwestern Nigeria. In a statement posted online, the Ekiti State Government said the victims were attacked in the town of Irele while returning from a road trip on Monday night. State Governor Biodun Oyebanji said the authorities are determined to get the children and their teachers rescued. Meanwhile, residents are being urged to remain calm and share any information that could help with the search. It is not yet clear who is responsible or whether they have demanded a ransom. Kidnapping for ransom has worsened in Nigeria in recent years, with armed gangs targeting road travelers, students, as well as residents in rural and urban areas across the country. Meanwhile, Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has condemned the heart-wrenching attack that claimed the lives of 2 revered traditional rulers in Oke-Ako area of Ikole Local Government. The victims, identified as Oba David Ogunsakin and Oba Olatunde Olusola, were brutally gunned down by suspected kidnappers while returning from a meeting in Irele-Ekiti on Monday. In a swift response, Governor Oyebanji has issued a directive to the state security agencies to leave no stone unturned in apprehending the perpetrators of this heinous crime. Expressing heartfelt condolences to the affected communities, Governor Oyebanji implored residents to remain calm and refrain from taking matters into their own hands. He underscored the government's commitment to ensuring that the culprits face the full wrath of the law. Still on security issues, several civil society groups in Nigeria have called for the declaration of a state of emergency on insecurity in the country. The groups, while speaking to newsmen in the nation's capital, Abuja, say that insecurity and crime have become a national concern and urged government to investigate, arrest and prosecute all those complicit in escalating the crisis. Amadine Uyi reports.
The escalating rise in insecurity in Nigeria has become a source of worry to citizens. From banditry to terrorism and kidnapping, many Nigerians have not been spared from this onslaught. Despite promises made by government to tackle this menace, it seems not much has been achieved in this regard.
The government has continued to fail in its primary duty of ensuring the security and welfare of all citizens as mandated in Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution.
This alarming trend has continued in spite of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's assurance at the beginning of his presidency in May 2023 to tackle insecurity. It has now been 8 months since President Tinubu took his oath of office.
Stakeholders while meeting in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, have called on government to declare a state of emergency on insecurity as the federal capital continues to grapple with insecurity challenges.
We need to secure this country. We're talking about foreign investment, people coming here. Even local businesses can't function. People, once it's dark, people, have to head home. Even if in daylight they are robbing people, kidnapping people, no longer from the streets but from their homes.
For us, we are clear about this. We are clear that when you declare this state of emergency, it should include how you are going to tackle all of these things. There are equipment that are there, that have been bought actually, but have not been used. And they are not, nobody intended to use them. The state is in a state of abandonment. The Nigerian people have to wake up. It's not a civil society thing anymore. We have to wake up and hold these guys responsible and accountable.
They are also calling for thorough reforms by government, saying many agencies of government continue to frustrate efforts aimed at tackling insecurity challenges.
Government needs to have a holistic approach, but the president needs to, as a matter of urgency, to address the nation and say, this and this are the things we want to do, and in the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, we expect the situation to change, and then we hold them on to.
The conspiracy of the security agents and the financial institutions, we need to dismantle it. The money goes to the banks. The criminals go and collect it. And then you go there and say, can we find the person, the owner of this account? They will tell you it will take 30 days. You keep going there. So the collusion is clear. So it's a Nigerian crisis.
The groups are also calling on President Bola Tinubu to ensure that those sponsoring acts of insecurity are investigated, arrested, and prosecuted. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
And joining me on the news to discuss this is a program manager, Global Rights, Edosa Oviawe. Thank you so much for joining us on the news. Mr. Edosa Oviawe, can you hear me? Can you please unmute your device so that we can hear you?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, let's get right into it. Now, kidnapping for ransom has become rewarding in recent years in Nigeria for perpetrators. Why has it festered so much that it's now becoming an everyday occurrence in the country?
I think what sums that up is just the failure of governance. Our successive government has refused to send a strong message that we are not tolerating this as a people. And that is why this business, I call it business, is thriving. It's a business that they are transacting with the lives of Nigerians. And it is thriving because there is no resistance, no commensurate resistance from the states. Over time, we've heard even the president give ultimatum to service chiefs or to some other security agents or heads of security agents, deal with this within the next 2 weeks, deal with this within the next 1 month. And we hear repeated assurance, this will be done within the next 2 weeks. Nothing happens, and then we just still move on. The person that have been given ultimatum by the president is not called to account why he was not able to deliver on the job or the task given to him, or the ultimatum given to him by the president, and we just keep moving on. And so how do you expect the criminals to take you serious, or to think you are by any means serious with the threat you are giving out? By the way, how many times have we heard the president come out to address these issues? Most times when we hear press releases from maybe the SC media or somebody else from the cabinet, what will it take for the president to come out and speak strongly on these issues and make everyone know how serious he is about dealing with these issues? I remembered it took him just a day in office to talk about the subsidy removal, and everybody went into action. That policy gained life on the spot. How come the president is not able to give orders to people within his cabinet, within his government, to deal with these issues? And that is why this thing is pillaging out of hands.
We just, sorry to cut in, we just watched a report where some stakeholders said that elements within government are also frustrating the fight in tackling kidnapping, the insecurity in the country, and they fingered some security personnel, if I can't put it that way, without having to mention a particular parastatal or arm of the security in the country, and financial institutions in the country. So what do you make of this allegation against these two entities when it comes to tackling and dealing with this menace in the society?
First, these ransoms are paid. I know some are paid in hard cash, some are paid by transfers. There are transactions going on. You mean we are not able to track the movement of this cash, of this ransom being paid? And then the phone calls are made. Most times the lines of the victims are used to call the family members, and we are not able to track. We don't have the technology to deal with these issues. Is it what we are saying? We are not able to track where the phone call is coming from. We are not able to track where the phone is. We can't track we don't have the technology, or we don't have the personnel, or it's just that we are not willing to do it. That is the question. And so when we say with the security, some persons in security agencies are being fingered, it is just stating the obvious, because the way the rates at which this is lingering, and as if there is no resistance at all, It just states the obvious. Obviously, people are benefiting from what is going on, and so they just enjoy it to maintain the status quo.
So should
Because
the presidency, Mr. Viawe, should the presidency at this time now declare a state of emergency?
When we say declare a state of emergency, I think it's something you should have done before now. We are saying take this thing serious, show some seriousness in this thing, give timeline, show some seriousness in dealing with this issue. We're not saying shut down the country. Declare a state of emergency. If there is a fire in your house right now, or there is a fire alarm, the way you respond to it, that is where we are right now. Nigerians are being killed for crying out loud. Killed in hundreds. Your news report just now just relate what's happening in Ekiti. Yesterday, traditional rulers. Today, school children kidnapped. Yesterday, traditional rulers killed in the attempt to kidnap. Today, school children kidnapped. And that is just one state. And it's just across the country. And you don't think it's enough for you to come out and say, this has to stop? Why are we still living as if everything is normal? Why are we still living as if, okay, we are just moving on? You asked us to tighten our belt as citizens. Okay, you want to make some economic reform. Good. Are we going to tighten our belt with our lives as well? With our lives being staked, our families being killed before our faces, and we are tightening our belts? Homes are not even safe anymore. Before now, when there is crisis outside, even government say, curfew, stay at home. Offices say stay at home. Now the homes are not even safe. They come to kidnap you in your house. They kidnap families in their houses. They kidnap communities right in their house. So where are we going to stay? Are we going to be sleeping off in the office? Will our children be sleeping off in schools? Where do we stay then if the homes are not even safe?
Now, the side to this particular discussion is, of course, we understand that it is mind-boggling that some amounts of money allegedly are being paid as ransom. But then the twist is that the Minister of Defense, that's Muhammadu Bagudu, recently urged Nigerians to stop the illegal payment of ransom to kidnappers and bandits. So how do we now begin to secure the release of people that are being kidnapped, pending the time we get a concrete response from the presidency?
In as much as we will say paying of ransom is not the option, and in fact that is one of the calls we are giving to the president, and we support that call. Paying ransom is not the option. But what alternative do you have? What options do you have for your citizens? They are having to secure their lives themselves. And their families are resorting to pay ransom because there is no action from the government. And that is just the plain truth. Now we even see communities hire, if you can see the proliferation of vigilantes we're having now, how much communities are hiring vigilantes, hiring even hunters to secure them, because there is no action from the government. Asking citizens to not pay ransom is one thing, but what action are you taking as alternative to securing these people, these Nigerians that are being kidnapped? Citizens are paying ransoms because they want their families back. So what do you do in place of say, don't pay ransom, I am going to deal with this? When states come out and say we don't negotiate with terrorists, we don't pay ransom, they say that with all sense of responsibility because they are going to do the needful to rescue those people. But you can't, yes, you should not pay ransom. That is, I totally agree with that. But you can't just be telling people don't pay ransom when they are not seeing action from your part, they're not seeing results from your side, and you're just coming out and shouting don't pay ransom.
So then can communities be helped or supported in creating their own vigilante or security troop or groups to probably protect their communities or their areas of jurisdiction?
Yeah, different organizations, even including global rights, we engage communities trying to help them set up what we call the early warning, early response system for the community to be able to identify some of these early warning signals and deal with it as it were. But those are just efforts of civil society organizations and some other groups. Okay. Yeah, but the government themselves had to take this as their responsibility. Let's not forget Section 14 to be that gives legitimacy to any government, which is that Section 14, which is the fact that your role as a government is to protect the people. When you lose that, when you abdicate that role, then you've lost legitimacy as a government.
Edosa Oviawe, yes, I think we'll pen that discussion at that point. It's something that we'll continue to talk about until we begin to see results. But thank you so much for contributing to this particular discussion.
Thank you.
Let's move on now. The governor of Plateau State, located in Nigeria's north-central region, has reassured citizens of the state government's commitment to ending the current wave of violence been witnessed in several local government areas of the state. Governor Caleb Mutfwang, while commissioning 34 vehicles procured and donated by local council transition committee chairman to aid efforts aimed at tackling insecurity, assured residents that the state government will not rest on its oars in ensuring the protection of lives and property. News Central's Chizo Banyowe completes the reports.
It is 1 week after another cycle of violence broke out in Mangu local government area of Plateau State, leaving many dead and properties worth millions of naira destroyed. While there has been a call for governance at the local government level to do more in preventing violence between aggrieved groups, this time 17 transition committee chairmen in the state have made donations to the state government to ease logistical challenges being faced by security agencies during efforts to curb insecurity.
Since December, we have not really known relatively peace in the state. So we decided as a local government and with the ministry, with the support of the local government, to get vehicles so that it will enable the state to be able to curtail some security issues in an event where there is an emergency. And that's by the grace of God, we want to believe this will checkmate so many places that securities cannot be able to move into our nook and crannies in the state.
Some believe that this is a fallout from the visit by the Nigeria's Chief of the Army Staff as he visited Mangu last weekend to assess the level of damage and address troops on the front line. While commissioning the vehicles, Governor Caleb Mutfwang commended their efforts, noting that the initiative will go a long way in containing the recent cycle of violence being witnessed in some parts of the state.
I want to urge those who will be in charge of these vehicles to know that it is a trust and they must use it wisely and prudently for the protection of lives and property at the local government level. This is the beginning of our determination to revamp the security architecture on the plateau. Very soon, the state government will come with its own complement that will assist the security agencies across the state in ensuring that they carry out their functions effectively.
Many will be hoping that these 34 vehicles, when distributed across the local government areas in the state, will achieve the purpose for which they were procured. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
Many thanks for staying with us. We now tell you that the Northern Youths Progressive Network has called for the continuous use of private security companies to tackle the menace of oil thefts in the country. The group, while speaking to newsmen in the nation's capital, Abuja, says that since the adoption of this strategy by government, Nigeria has witnessed an increase in daily oil production and recorded less incidences of pipeline vandalism.
These have been overstretched. So bringing in private security to collaborate, most especially private securities who are committed towards the growth and development of this great nation, Nigeria, I think it must be encouraged, because even in the United States, there are private securities that augment or consolidate the U.S. Army. So there's nothing bad about it. And today we are stating unequivocally that Tantita security outfit has done a marvelous job. If you follow the trend of oil theft in Nigeria, you get to understand that since their involvement in this security, in safeguarding the pipeline facility, the production thereabout from 5,000 barrels per day has shoot up to 1.8 million barrels per day, and they have made a lot of arrests. They have arrested over 7 vessels.
And now to a business-related story. Manufacturers have issued a stark warning about the impending price hikes of commodities in response to the persistent decline of the Nigerian naira against the United States dollar. Speaking in an interview, the president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Francis Meshoye, disclosed that consumers should brace themselves for increased cost of goods due to the continuous depreciation of the naira in the parallel market. Meshoye noted that such price hikes would undoubtedly strain the already dwindling purchasing power of consumers, worsening their financial burdens. According to him, the frequent fluctuations in the forex market have made it difficult for manufacturers to make long-term plans. The depreciation of the national currency has been a key driver of soaring inflation rates, with the National Bureau of Statistics reporting a staggering 28.92% inflation rate as of December 2023. To further discuss this, I'm joined by a business and social policy analyst, Kenneth Ikenwa. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Good evening, Lakon. Thanks for having me on.
Well, tough times we will reckon it is for the manufacturing sector in Nigeria, most especially with the dwindling value in the naira and forex scarcity. Now, how badly hit is it for the local producers who have to make sure that they have a certain amount of money to procure materials for production, and having to also spend more in terms of producing whatever it is that they are selling? How badly hit are they at this particular time?
All right, I will just go straight to the point. There is no need giving too much explanations. It's very important for us to realize and educate Nigerians on how we got here and why we are here. We're actually in this state, and the manufacturing sector and other sectors of the economy is badly hit, or are being badly hit, because our economy has become a dollarized economy. On the one hand, it's a monoproduct-centered economy, focusing more on oil and gas. On the other hand, it is a dollarized economy. Now, this wasn't the case some 40 years ago. It wasn't the case in the 70s. It wasn't the case in the early 80s. We got to where we are today because of an ill-advised structural adjustment program that was forced and foisted on Nigerian people, which commenced the initial devaluation of the naira against foreign currencies. And that is how we got to where we are. Now, this being the case, you discovered that everything that has to do with the Nigerian economy, hitherto, was quite productive. But now we started moving away from our productive possibility curve. That curve started shifting to the left, and everybody wanted to get into the oil business and wanted to be a part and parcel of benefiting and being beneficiated by the petrodollars. And that is why we are where we are today. Now, could this situation have been avoided? Obviously. But there's no way it could have been avoided, and there's no way we're still going to avoid going further down if we do not address the issues that border on the character and the competence of those who are actually saddled with the responsibility of managing the Nigerian economy. Now, I'm a proud son of a Yoruba princess, and it is terrible. There's an adage, a saying in Yoruba that goes, and please forgive my use of vernacular here. Ogedem baje asokpe onpon. What does that mean? The plantain is going bad, but we say it is getting right. The Nigerian economy is going down the drain, but there are so many clairvoyant men and women that are still telling the government and telling the world that everything is getting better.
Kenneth,
it's not getting.
Kenneth, you have questioned. Kenneth, you have actually questioned the competency of the handlers of the Nigerian economy, but we see that there have been measures or policies trying to reverse this trend that is not benefiting anyone, most especially the fact that there's been a clearing of the FX backlog by the CBN, and just recently, just about yesterday, the Central Bank of Nigeria injected about $500 million into forex market. So efforts are being put into place, measures are being put into place. So why are we not seeing a change in the narrative?
One of the major reasons why we're not seeing a change in the narrative and in the social structure and how it's affecting the economy positively, no multiplier effects, is that, in my view, and I hope I won't be crucified for that, but I do not fear whose horse is God. Most of these policies are policies on paper. We do not have a clear-cut basis for seeing transparency, full disclosure on all of these policies. We take a look at the loan that was taken recently by the federal government, which was supposed to ease the cash flow of foreign exchange in the country. And then a member of the opposition came and said, look, that loan is going to be paid back almost 3 or 4 times the actual size. Have we seen the document? Have we seen any engagement? One of the problems we're having in the economy is that nobody is coming out to tell us or to engage with the Nigerian public to tell us where we actually are. And that is why the economy is right now undergoing or suffering what I call, or what is called, a Titanic syndrome. We need more engagement, we need more transparency, and we need people that are competent. In Nigeria, as at last month, the Nigerian Universities Commission told us we have 10,000 professors, 40% of who come from the social sciences and humanities. We need intellectuals, we need the intelligentsia to get us out of this rut. And it is not impossible. So where I hear policies, this has been injected, that has been injected, and all is going skewed to the left, no, I do not believe that what is being said is actually what is being done. Let us come back to the basis and let us be true to the Nigerian people and tell the Nigerian people the actual situation that is confronting us. Otherwise, we will hit the iceberg very soon, and everybody just may go under.
Well, of course, almost all sectors of the economy are actually affected by the negative indices being recorded as of now. For the manufacturers, for the manufacturing industry, what measures do you think, or you would suggest that they can bring into the fore to mitigate the effects of currency depreciation on their production costs?
Well, like I did say in the beginning, the Nigerian economy has become dollarized. And one of the unorthodox solutions, or one of the unorthodox strategies that I would advise local manufacturers, to adhere to or to start exploring, is to start looking at the regional economies. Unfortunately, we're having problems with some of the ECOWAS countries now, but it will appear to me, from my observations, that some of these ECOWAS countries are doing well. I'm not talking about those who have botched their democracy. I'm talking about those who are surrounding Nigeria, as it were. So instead of looking to Asia and looking to America and looking to Europe to start importing raw materials, we should start looking at the possibility of exploring bilateral relations, deepening trade relations with countries that are in the Western African region, so that we can have at least the supply chain cost reduced for manufacturing firms that need to get raw materials into the country, to get them into the country at a lower cost. That is the best possible solution we can have now. If we are waiting for any policy or waiting for any messiah to come and change the situation on ground, I do not see that happening in the next 6 months. The best thing is to go out into the neighboring countries, look for these resources, their economies are working, get them to bring it in, reduce the supply chain costs, and bring them into Nigeria, and then we can maybe start thinking of rebooting our economy and of rejigging our Nigerian manufacturing industry and other subsectors in that industry and those that are related to that industry.
But then if we are to look inwards and look at the regional lines to boost trade for Nigeria, we know that there's the AfCFTA that has been put into place, but then that machination has not really taken full effect in West Africa and in other African countries. So when we begin to look at all these provisions that have bottlenecks, what is the trickle effect that it would have on Nigeria? Because we have inhibitions. The ECOWAS is having issues with West African countries, and there are some other bottlenecks that is affecting the region, as it were. Now, if Nigeria cannot break even and break through in these regards, how do you think that it would improve its economy?
Well, Leko, I'm going to take the discussion away from what you have just mentioned. Let's just be straight and factual about some external issues. Some people externally, some external forces are benefiting from the economic conundrum in Nigeria. Let it be well said. Let it be said in concrete. Let's not talk about AFTA. Let's not talk about the ECOWAS. There are some external and internal forces that are benefiting from the present economic conundrum. And what the government needs to do, if it has the entire sincerity of purpose to address
this issue is to identify these forces, nip them in the bud, and re-navigate the economic ship of Nigeria towards the path of prosperity. If we start looking at the AFTAs, start looking at the ECOWAS, start looking at bilateral trade relations, we're just going to be overtly theoretical. The practical truth is this. There are people in Nigeria today, and there are people outside Nigeria today that are benefiting from this conundrum, and we must nip this supply chain of diabolic benefits in the bud and get Nigeria working again.
Kenneth Kenwa, thank you so much for your contribution.
Thanks for having me on.
The Irele Bridge of 500 meters cutting across 25 spans of 20 meters each with access road of 4.3 kilometer and 1.36 kilometer arterial roads in Delta State, Nigeria's South-South region would be completed in 9 months' time. The State Commissioner for Works, Highways and Urban Roads, Ruben Izeze, disclosed this while speaking to journalists shortly after inspecting the ongoing construction works at the site. The Central's correspondent, Austin Azu, completes the reports.
While reiterating the importance of the projects to several communities across the Irele River, Izeze, former lawmaker representing Ughelli South State constituency, commended the state government for awarding the contracts. He said the ongoing project signifies Governor Sheriff Oborevori's opportunities for all Deltans as enshrined in his more agenda. He commended the contracting firm and indigenous company for the job done so far on the project and assured that the Governor Oborevori's administration will patronize contractors with proven competence and capacity to deliver on projects.
If you understand this terrain, the entire Ewu, in Ughelli South, about 30-something communities that make up the area of Ughelli South, is an island. So you don't even need too much rains before the flooding starts. And to get the proper sloping, you need to actually start from the other end. As you, what it actually is a long distance, not a long one. You took a long distance before the river so that by the time the flooding starts, it will not disturb the usage of this bridge.
The bridge is a 500 meters bridge, access road of 4.3 kilometers. Then going to Irele, you have 1.36 kilometers.
Managing director of the firm said the project was delayed by yearly flooding that makes the firm to lose 4 months of active work annually. He assured that in the next 9 months, the job will be completed and will be fully motorable, open to the remaining 15 communities up to Bomadi. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Staying in the West, the African Union has declared deep regret over this weekend's decision by the military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger to pull out of the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS. The three nations who were founding members when ECOWAS was set up almost 50 years ago accused the Union of posing a threat to their sovereignty. The AU's Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat, in a testament on Tuesday, called on regional leaders to intensify the dialogue between the ECOWAS leadership and the countries. Nigeria had also rebuked Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger for leaving ECOWAS, saying they were letting their people down by quitting the group. The news continues in East Africa, where a group of 13 Sudanese who had fled the war in Khartoum have been hospitalized following a cholera outbreak in northern Uganda's Adjumani district. According to local health official Henry Lulu, 4 of them are confirmed to have cholera. Officials now plan to track down the estimated 82 people who came into contact with them for follow-up testing. Uganda's latest wave of deadly cholera outbreaks began last July. Sudan declared numerous cholera outbreaks from last September onwards. Now, close to 400 people have died in Ethiopia's Tigray and Amhara regions due to drought-induced starvation. The head of the country's state-appointed Federal Ombudsman Institute, Ndale Haley, confirmed that the deaths occurred in the past 6 months. The remarks contradict earlier statements from federal authorities that there had not been confirmation that anyone has died of starvation in any region in the country. The institute said an assessment of its team of experts revealed that millions were impacted in the two regions and tens of thousands had already been displaced. It further added that thousands of children in the affected areas were not attending school. In the meantime, Uganda's National Unity Platform political party has filed a case with the High Court in Kampala to compel security agencies to release 18 of its supporters who have been missing for nearly 2 years. The supporters reportedly disappeared during the heated 2021 election period when NUP leader Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, popularly known as Bobi Wine, ran for president. The supporters' whereabouts are said to be unknown, but their families and NUP party leaders believe that they were unlawfully arrested and are still being detained by security forces. Last October, Uganda's official human rights body closed investigations into the disappearances, saying it had been unable to locate them. The commission also said that it had been unable to verify some of the missing reports. Bringing you stories from other continents now, tech billionaire Elon Musk says his Neuralink company has successfully implanted one of its wireless brain chips in a human. Elon Musk, Neuralink's billionaire founder, in a post on X, also known as Twitter, on Monday said the first human received an implant from the brain chip startup and is recovering well. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration had given the company clearance last year to conduct its first trial to test its implant on humans. Spikes are activity by neurons, which the National Institute of Health describes as cells that use electrical and chemical signals to send information around the brain and to the body. The startup's prime study is a trial for its wireless brain-computer interface to evaluate the safety of the implant and surgical robots. Let's now tell you that China and the United States have resumed talks on curbing the production of ingredients to make fentanyl as the two powers seek to rebuild frayed channels of communication on hot-button issues. Officials say the synthetic opioid, many times more powerful than heroin, has caused an epidemic of addiction in the United States, responsible for 100,000 overdose deaths a year. At a summit in November, Presidents Xi Jinping and Joe Biden agreed to do more to cooperate on tackling companies that manufacture the precursor chemicals to make fentanyl and on cutting finances for the trade.
I'm from Washington with a very high-level delegation that represents the United States whole-of-government approach to tackling the global challenge posed by illicit narcotics.
双方的合作再一次证明，中美关系合则两利，斗则俱伤。
In the world of sports, Super Eagles vice captain William Troost-Ekong has disclosed that the Nigerian team are eager to win their upcoming Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinal clash against Angola. The three-time AFCON winner sealed a deal with the Black Antelopes after cruising past arch-rivals Cameroon 2-0 in the round of 16, with Ademola Lookman netting both goals. The Super Eagles will tackle Angola on Friday, February 2, in a highly anticipated quarterfinal clash in Abidjan.
Because I think we said from the start we want to win the AFCON, and yeah, there's still a long road to go. But I like the way how it's lining up now. I think the team is improving game by game, and most of all, I think the team is ready to work hard. I think you can really see a spirit of determination, and yeah, I think that's it's going to be the base of all of our performances, and yeah, there's many things that we can still improve, and we're working on it every day, like you saw in training today. But yeah, I'm confident for the game on Friday. So Angola is going to be a tough game. They look very good.
We also tell you that South Africa's fate in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations will be on the line when they face Morocco in the round of 16 on Tuesday evening. Former Bafana coach Pitso Mosimane has sent his best wishes to the team ahead of their massive clash with the favourites. Hugo Bruce's side are looking to reach the quarterfinals for the first time since the 2019 edition, but will need to beat the North Africans, who are regarded as front-runners. Mosamane, recently confirmed as coach of the Saudi Pro League's Arba club, took to X, formerly called Twitter, to send his message of support to the team. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. School children, teachers have been kidnapped in Ekiti State, southwest of Nigeria. Over 400 have died from starvation in Ethiopia's Tigray region. Finally, we told you that Sudanese refugees have been hospitalized in Uganda over cholera outbreak. Do send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. And you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Omabanjo.